With the replacement of Web GUI functionality based on dependency on the JRE plugin, there are an increasing number of features coded mainly using JavaScript. This requires a different kind of debugging since the Java console log is of no use. Instead, there are browser developer tools which can be used to obtain useful information about client-side issues. In this session, I will focus on the Firefox native developer tool. In my first use case, I'd like to look at the network capture from loading a Web GUI filter and switching between filters. This is particularly useful if there is evidence that the Web GUI server or other external data sources are taking a long time to respond to browser action. We'll begin by loading an event viewer. And then let's click on the developer tool and we'll select the network tab. We can then do some testing. Let's try selecting a different filter or a different view. If needed, we can use the clear button down here to clear entries, and then we can retest. And when we're happy we've collected the data we want to collect, we can then do a right click and select save all as har, and that then saves the har file which we can then send to support. In the next use case, let's look at capturing the console output. This output is particularly useful for investigating browser errors or errors reported in the GUI. We load the developer tool as before, and this time let's select the Web Console option. If there are any existing messages, we can select the clear button. Let's now do something in the event viewer to see the console populated with data. We can use the quick filter buttons to focus on specific kinds of messages, or click on the message to drill down, for example, into the network. Once we're happy with our collection, we can then right click and select all, and we can then copy this to a text file. For a final use case, let's look at profiling the UI responsiveness. This can be particularly useful when a user action causes high CPU usage on a client machine. We load the developer tool as before, and this time we select the Performance tab. We click on Start Recording Performance, and then we start taking some action in the GUI. The buffer here gives us some idea of the limits of what we can capture. When we click to stop the recording performance, a report is automatically generated. By default, this displays a waterfall model where we can see the chronological view of the recording. We can also, for example, click on Call Tree, which groups the time and cost by function. Finally, we can use the Save option over here to save our recording as a profile.json file, which can then also be sent to support. Two things to remember. Unless you hear otherwise from support, the Firefox Developer Tool output should always be sent in addition to a capture of server-side logs using the Jazz SM Home UI bin console log collector.sh command. And you should also inform support of any time zone difference between your server and the client machine where the developer tool output was collected.